Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is many a Truder. Welcome to Total War Warhammer 3, the concluding part of Creative Assembly's Warhammer trilogy, and oh my, I am rather excited because last time I featured this on the channel, it was just a little preview build being played on Creative Assembly's machine, but no, not today. This is the entire full game on my computer in front of me. I have played every single faction that's going to be in the game at launch, and that's interesting, because normally, this early, there are all sorts of rules and restrictions. You have to go to the developer's house, so it's under controlled conditions, or they insist on being sent the footage before it goes live so they can check it over, but no. On this occasion, they've just sent me the full game, and you don't do that unless you're pretty confident you've bloody nailed it, and I've already put a fair few hours into this. And I would say yes, I think they have. Let's dive in and I'll show you what I mean. Now, unfortunately, just because I've got access to everything, it doesn't mean I can show you it all today. There are embargoes. Creative Assembly asked me politely to only show a few things, but give me a few days a week. You'll be surprised how much other stuff I can show off too. But for the time being, this has kind of worked out perfectly, because the campaign I can bring you today is Mao Ying. And this particular faction, in this particular campaign, is kind of my dream Total War scenario already. Because Mao Ying is all about the missile unit. She's all about that good stuff, and her campaign is absolutely fascinating because mostly in Total War, you're going on the offensive. You're marching out, you're smashing everything, you're painting the map your colour. But not this campaign. This is a campaign where you've got to balance attack and defence. It's really bloody interesting. This is the Great Bastion, basically Warhammer Fantasy for the Great Wall of China. And unlike the historical Great Wall of China, which was really more of a series of outposts and garrisons that was only as effective as the people who happened to be garrisoning it at the time, this wall actually bloody works. It's supposed to be like, really huge. Like that big wall in Game of Thrones. For some reason, in fantasy, everyone likes the idea of a wall so big it actually functions as a wall. On this side of the wall, we've got Warhammer Fantasy China. It's a lovely little area where you can just expand and create a really lovely prosperous empire. On the other side of the wall, however, not so much. Say hello to the Chaos Waste, a nightmare of monstrosities and barbarians. Now, you may be thinking, okay, so you just go out into the Chaos Waste and smash it all to pieces. No, you don't. You do not just want to go out and try and expand into and settle in the Chaos Waste, because it's going to be expensive and incredibly difficult to hold. This territory is just going to keep spawning chaos basically forever. You're not going to be able to stop it. It will be a fool's errand to try. So what you do instead, you try and defend the walls. And the gates come with really, really nice big garrisons, and you can station your own armies in them as well. So that's what you do. You try and defend the gate. Now, unfortunately, one of the gates has kind of fallen over. Bit embarrassing, probably shouldn't have happened. So we're going to be wanting to go and take care of that at some point. But once the gates are all back up and running, that's basically what we want to do. We want to man the gate and defend them. And that doesn't really come up a lot in Warhammer. But in this campaign, you've got to be defending as well, which is really kind of cool. So, we'll get to that up there in a second. Let's just say hello to Mao Ying first, because it wouldn't be a Total War game if there wasn't a group of idiot rebels who started right next to you. So, let's introduce Grand Cathay, because they've got a really cool, interesting mechanic. So, down on the ground, and actually I'm looking at the enemy army first up, because yes, Grand Cathay works really bloody interestingly. The army looks pretty bloody simple. Couple of spearmen, some archers at the rear, nothing too complicated. But you may notice the yin and yang symbols above the units' heads. Now, this makes a huge bloody difference. Basically, yang units are going to be your melee troops, your ranged troops are going to be yin. And Grand Cathay is all about balance, and that means these units want to be nearby to each other. This unit is nearby to a complementary unit that balances it out. That's why you've got the yin and yang on the top of their banner. This unit, however, doesn't. You can see right now it has got the white yang symbol, but it's not near enough to the archers to officially be next to a yin unit. And this makes a huge difference. So for example, right now this guy's melee defense is 24. But if you actually line the troops up correctly, get a yin unit close enough to him, that can go up by up to plus 12. 50% additional melee defense just for having your troops laid out correctly. Balancing Cathay bloody matters. And ditto your archers, who are going to have a lot more bloody reload skill, and thus fire a lot faster if they're nearby to units that are keeping them safe. And characters and special units can amplify that effect, so you're going to be wanting to make sure everyone's positioned correctly. It's really important for this faction. So my units I've laid out with this in mind. So we got ourselves, Jade Warriors and some Celestial Dragon Guard at the front line. Basically, strong defensive frontliners. Not great on the old attack, but they will hold the line. Cathay is great at defense. Behind them on the high ground, we've got some Peasant Archers and a nice elite unit to start you off with. And of course, one nice little Sky Junk. Got really, really long range artillery and can drop a handful of bombs. Very, very exciting indeed. But to make sure that these guys stay in range of something, I've kept some basic peasant long spearmen at the rear. Not just to guard them, but also to make sure they keep gaining all the benefits. Plus, put on top of that, yes, my leader, right in the middle, she I believe has, Harmony Amplifier plus 100%. So these guys have got one hell of a reload skill boost. But you see here, these horsemen, naturally being cavalry, are going to go off and do their own thing, trying to hit the enemy archers. But that means they're not going to be as strong as they might be. Cathay is strongest when it forms a great big blob and stands together. When units go off and do their own thing, they are not looking so good. So let's just see if we can start getting some nice easy shots right here. There we go. There's the Sky Junk just laying down the fire. And when you get given artillery in turn 1, basically that's an auto win button. So we're going to have some fun just shooting these bastards right here. We might even actually, be able to bomb them. If we can, great. The Peasant Archers are already at half strength. Spectacular. Okay, I may have been overthinking this one just a little bit right there. Alright, my lads are focusing firepower on their Lord Magistrate. It looks like they want to come and say hi to my unit. So, honestly, you guys are still going to be in range. Charge in right now and just bring in the Sky Junk. And in just one flipping second, bombs away, lads. That certainly flipping hurts a bit. So, yes, that's how you play Cathay. You draw up defensively, you keep your units close together, you play a defensive formation game. And winning that fight gets me a pile of money and a brand new free hero. Now you might be thinking, great, magnificent news, everybody loves a new hero. And an Astromancer is, as you may have guessed if you played a Warhammer 2, just a wizard focusing in the lore of heaven. But it's not actually good news in a way. You see, that whole yin-yang balance thing, that's not just on the battlefield, that's how you have to play the campaign too. As we've already established, Mao Ying is all about the yin. She's very good when it comes to missile troops. The Astromancer we just picked up is also a yin specialist. Put those two things together, and all of a sudden, our empire is out of balance, and that's not good. It's not good at all. So, yes, because we've got too much yin right now, the yin buildings are going to start suffering, the yang buildings are going to get a tiny, tiny bonus. Control is going down fast in every single territory that I own in the world. So we're going to want to fix that. Lords and heroes go towards either yin or yang, so I could just bring a new army into the world. And this is even true for buildings. Thankfully not military buildings, they're deemed to be neutral. But your support buildings basically have a yin and a yang variant that do slightly different things. So say I want growth inside this province, which is not a bad thing to start off with. I can either give myself growth, and also construction costs are down, and that gives me yang, or I could build a tea parlour, which does sound much more pleasant. That's yin focused, that gets me more money instead. Building one means you can't build the other. So on this occasion, sure, I do need the yang. Let's just get the empire a little bit more back into shape. Still, as the situation right now is pretty bloody severe, I see an opportunity. I need somebody to go and lock down the Snake Gate as soon as possible. And bringing a small new army onto the field would also let me massively swing the compass back towards Yang. And straight away with that +3 in place, now the balance of yin to yang is only 1, meaning that -6 control has just gone away, and just being really close to harmony gets me a big pile of bonus growth, bonus diplomatic relations. This is really important. The penalties for screwing this up are severe. The benefits for getting it right are huge. And there's one final thing we need to do. This I absolutely bloody love, by the way. Caravans. We need to send a caravan down the Ivory Roads. What you're basically doing here is playing a mini game where you are investing. So, say for example, right now, I'm about to give 500 gold to this caravan and tell him where to go next. If he goes somewhere nice and nearby, it's going to be a short journey, relatively safe, but the returns are going to be relatively low. If he goes down over here, however, yeah, you can vaguely kind of orientate yourself right now. So you can see there's the Empire, there are the Vampire Counts, they're happy to trade with you too, there's Marienburg, so Warhammer 1 kind of happens over here, Norska's kind of over here, then we're into, yes, big dead area where nobody likes being because it's nothing but monsters and sadness, and Grand Cathay over in the northeast corner of the map. Alright, 1,000 gold up front, but if he actually makes it, we get 2,800 back. And not just that, there's something very nice we might get on top of that too. So off you go, buddy. Have a nice trip. And it turns out my genius plan has worked, which is I built that one and only one building, which just nudged me a tiny bit more towards harmony, and there we go. Construction cost down, growth massively up, every building giving bonus income, massive increase in control, corruption goes down, and every army gets the Ancestral Warriors ability. Basically, free extra troops. Harmony is amazing, and you really, really want to be getting it, okay? Meanwhile, Mao Ying, you need to take over this settlement, and this, to my mind, is the biggest, most exciting bit of Warhammer 3 in general. So far, I've been talking just about Cathay, but this is a pretty big change in general. Previously, the weakest bit of Warhammer, everybody knows it, it was the sieges. The sieges were boring. Minor settlements were just field battles with a bit of a pretty skybox in the background. Main settlements, they were just a single wall you had to take over. Dull as anything, I ended up auto-resolving the vast majority. But not anymore! Because as I think we were all hoping for, the style of fights we got in Three Kingdoms and Troy has now been added in to Warhammer. Meaning you can start wherever you want all around the settlement. There are proper little choke points. Obviously, unless you've built walls, there aren't walls. But there's still streets and bridges, and generally sieges are 10 million times more exciting than they used to be. So on this occasion, yeah, I'm going to approach from this angle. We got a nice wide little area to let us into the town. Plus on top of that, yeah, bear in mind, I have got artillery. They don't. They try and hold this line. We absolutely knacker them. We push in. At that point, we want to, yes, go to the left, secure this location. Because, yes, if you've secured a location, they can't build defenses around it anymore. And that gives us access to the top of the city. Secure that, all of a sudden, melee defense goes down for them, leadership goes down for them, and we get the same. What have we got? Because the defenders have a whole bunch of new toys available to them. In particular, they could build barricades to just block up routes if that's what they want to do. And also at the same time, they're trying to build even more. This is where Cathay can occasionally struggle a bit, because Cathay doesn't want to be charging forward, keeping its units all separated out. There would be an argument to saying, hey, maybe one weak unit should stay back with the Skyjunk to increase its reload skill. But for the time being, let's just start moving forward and seeing what we've got. There we go. I see you, buddy. Just lay down a bit of fire on them, and it's very inaccurate. Change target over to those guys, if you'd be so kind. Long spearman, that looks good. Yep, there we go. They're looking nice and dead. Deploy the Jade Warriors. They are cheap but highly effective. Just get in over there, lay down the fire. Right, their archers have fallen behind defences. I'm going to use those ancestral units that we actually just spawned in. So we get these because we're currently in harmony, meaning all of a sudden, oh dear lads, you are going to be in a lot of trouble. So now these archers are going to be annihilated. This platform has thousands of hit points. It's a bit of an issue. Now they're trying to build some defenses over here. I'm trying to knock this down too. They've got peasant long spearmen floating around over there. Just be ready for any trouble that might come in. I'm going to start having, yeah, my units just line up over in this part of the world, if you'd be so kind. Let's start laying down a bit of fire. That barricade's going down soon, and my ancestral warriors are doing the job nicely. Alright, reinforcements are coming in. That's their Jade Warriors. Guys, we're going to be wanting to put as much firepower as we can on them. They're the nasty lads. Do I have a good shot with my sky junk? Possibly, possibly not. Whatever we can do against them, spectacular. I'm going to have my sky junker move in, lay down the fire. And, oh no, that's okay. Those are my own troops. Maybe don't worry about that just right now, okay? Just don't. Here we go. Oh, guys. They just decided to jump over the barricade, and now they're being shot by my gunners. So that is, it's not good for them. Not good for them at all. Pin them, destroy them. They're being shredded by those new gun units I've got. Yes, the Iron Hail Gunners. They're not nothing. He's sending in more reinforcements. Now it is the Peasant Horsemen. Right, where are my Spearmen? Still, I'm seeing they're sending in reinforcements. There's their Astromancer. Okay, they're sending in the Astromancer. Time to break out the big guns. Because one thing I may have forgotten to mention. So, when we say she's the Storm Dragon, I'd say it's time for her to very literally transform herself into a dragon. Which makes her very effective, though she can't use most of her supporting abilities. So that's nice right there. So when she goes just down to go and do a bit of damage, she's very good at assassinating enemy characters while in dragon form. So I'd say, how about we send her to go and kill that bloody wizard before he does more, you know, wind and heaven magic and whatnot. Still, this is going rather well so far. And there we go, we've broken them. So, their Astromancer was chased off by a giant electric dragon, as naturally you'd expect. She was about to go over here and try and lock down the top of the city anyway, but at this point, yes, we just had enough firepower and enough artillery to break them. But, you can see there, that's just such a more interesting battle to have to fight through than the old minor settlement conflicts, which, as I say, were just field battles with a nice bit of background detail. This is so much better. So, that's the end of that turn, but the Caravan is going on its own adventure. Kind of doing a little choose-your-own-adventure novel, where you just run into events and have to choose what to do. So, this is your army right now, but a weird stranger has just shown up. So you can choose whether to just send them away or add them into the army. And once added, they're going to be there permanently. Not just for this journey, but for all journeys with this Caravan Master in the future, assuming he survives. They can, of course, get completely destroyed. And what's rather exciting is these armies can gain units that aren't actually Grand Cathay units. In a previous game, I picked up an Empire Captain, and he was just part of my Caravan army for the rest of the game. I love that guy, he was great. So, honestly, Hunter ×1. What even is a Hunter? Oh, he would appear to be an Ogre. So now I've just got an Ogre hero inside this army. I don't really know what he does, but there he is. Right, we're still under the effects of Harmony right now, and yes, it's flipping time. The Snake Gate needs to be brought back up to snuff. So, send my lovely person to take care of that. She can colonize that for a giant pile of money, and there we go. I own this province before I own my home province. Magnificent. Every moment this gate is broken, and thus, you know, chaos is just wafting in like a bloody draft of evil, the threat level of a major chaos assault is rising. So right now it is at 33%, rising 7% a turn. So it was rising faster, but we now own all three gates. And whoever owns the Dragon Gate, some folks up north, right now, their deal is, yes, they're using a special commandment to reduce the rate of chaos gain. So you've got a bit of influence over how regularly a big chaos invasion comes to play. Speaking of which, you guys, I think we want to be friends, because, yes, right now, they really, really like me, because I have a massive bonus to my relationship with other Cathayan factions. So, while we're floating around here, lads, I see no reason why we wouldn't want to, you know what, make a trade agreement, and also have shared military access. And, you may notice, by the way, things are getting a bit exciting. These days, there's been a big diplomacy overhaul. Thank flipping goodness. Diplomacy now works a lot more like, honestly, more Troy than Three Kingdoms. Three Kingdoms was more intricate because of all the dynasty and family stuff going on. So you don't have the full set of that, but what you do have rather nicely is the balance offer button. Here we go. So yes, if you're offering somebody a good deal, you can make them pay for it. Or, if you don't quite have the ability to make a deal go through, you can ask them how much money to push this over the line. So, yes, you're no longer dealing with dumb probabilities where idiots will just constantly say, no, this trade route that would make me and you tons of money, I shall not do it, because the dice landed on one, and we all worship the dice. Okay, back down with Mao Ying, however, yes, we've got an opportunity right here. I am just in range of Nan Li, which would let me finish up this here territory. This force, however, has, a 7-stack army and a decent-sized garrison. Taking them on inside the walls strikes me as a bad idea, so fortunately, we've got new options. What I'm going to do is move in, and even though this is a minor settlement, I'm just going to say, you know what, we're going to siege them out. And the reason for that is, siege attrition has now been reworked, kind of to offset the huge benefit the defenders now get, choke points and towers and barricades and all sorts of bits and pieces. So I'm just going to say, you know what? I think you're looking pretty good right now, buddy. So I'm just going to, encircle you and leave you be. If they want to come and fight me on the open field, they can do so. But I think on the open field, I will be in a much stronger position than I would be in town. So we'll just keep an eye on them, and especially the strength of the garrison, because that's going to start ticking down over time. Okay, following turn, nothing's happened to the caravan, and no one's decided to step outside and fight me. But, as I was hoping for, over here in Nan Li, you see right there, they're losing power already. So, sieging is now way less annoying, because you used to have to, siege for 6, 8, sometimes 10 turns before any attrition kicked in. Now attrition just kicks in immediately. But on turn 4, we've got a new toy, the compass. You can change its direction once every few turns, and it makes a big difference to how Cathay feels. Points to one of these bars, and the bar starts going up and up and up, and when it gets maxed out, it is ridiculously strong. So, massive increase in casualty replenishment rates, dumb levels of growth, alternatively, giant piles of control. For some reason, Warpstone Desert doesn't have a bar. I assume intentionally, I'm not 100% sure. Okay, for now, the Great Bastion would appear to be under control. Boosting growth would not be a bad starting point, not least as when you get this bar filled up, it's going to stay filled up and then just slowly trickle down. Slight issue though. It would appear that yes, technology has completed pushing me into +1 Yang, so I'm no longer Harmony. So alright lads over here in Nan Li, when I first decided to attack you guys, the game said okay you'll win, but Pyrrhic victory's super sad. How about now? Okay, close victory, but yes, these days the game very clearly flags if any unit would be destroyed. So I'm pretty happy just to auto-resolve at that one at this point. Yep, honestly that's fine, no problem there. Oh, this settlement already had one yin building, so I have accidentally restored harmony. It turns out I'm a genius. Also, here's something you'll like. Neutral factions that used to just stand around in your territory, being dicks and raiding, and you couldn't do anything about it, and if you engaged them in war, everyone acted like you were being the dick, even though they started it. No longer. you can now say, excuse me, get out, otherwise I'm going to declare war on you and everyone will agree I was justified in doing so. So that's what I'm going to do. These guys have to leave in 2 turns, otherwise I get to murder them, and it's not even considered a crime. But we got a new threat emerging. The forces of chaos that got themselves set up in the terracotta graveyard have decided to start marching south. So, alright, we better go take care of that. And the Redhorn tribe, who I gave a warning to, have agreed they're going to go raid somebody else. Spectacular. Oh, and there we go. Now that caravan now needs to make its way home. On the way home, because it's got like no goods and nothing worth taking, it never seems to be attacked, but it's still going to take a while. But if we're very lucky, yes indeed, not only do you make the money, but you also get rare items. So I've now got a frostworm skull, meaning as a result of that, my troops are a bit more missile resistant, and presumably, yes, I could just make a character Vanguard deploy if I want to. Now, because he's currently returning to capital, that does mean, yes, right now I can't begin a new caravan. So that means we need to bring someone new on board. This caravan master mysteriously has access to elite troops. So his troops are going to start off being just a little bit stronger, and they're going to get stronger still. They're gaining bonus experience. Alternatively, this guy gets longmas, which are basically just flying horses. Alright, it's hardcore cavalry that can fly. And go on, I see no reason why not. So you, buddy, can now begin your next journey. Let's just whack up your investment to max, because always whack up your investment to max. So let's just have a bit of a look-see what we got here, and naturally, Marienburg. That's where the biggest, most expensive stuff is, but honestly, I could cut a turn's journey off the trip and make pretty much the same money by just going to the vampire counts. And honestly, they give you the most fun gifts, so screw it. We'll send you off in that direction. Right, Mao Ying, time to take on some chaos. You've got a good solid army running right here, and Jideng is nearby. So if we're lucky, flipping boom. They've decided to stand and fight, meaning I get Settlement Garrison helping me out, and Jideng too. Right, nothing too dramatic here. They've got the high ground, unfortunately, but I've got a mini high ground over here. Reinforcements coming up from behind me, so we've got plenty more troops coming in. Horses are hidden in the woods. Here's what you need to know about these little monsters, by the way. 1, they've basically got no armor whatsoever. So, withering fire off peasant archers works really, really damn well. And 2, they're basically Protoss. You gotta get through the shields first. This means artillery's not so effective because the artillery breaks the shield, but you've not actually done any damage to the unit itself. The thing to be aware of, though, is all their infantry does have ranged attacks. So the front line's just going to have to stand and take it. We're going to take some knocks here. If I can use the garrison to, yes, get around that, that'd be magnificent. So, alright, where are the reinforcements coming in? You're coming in 1 minute 50. You're coming in, okay, same deal. Now, what we probably would like to do is, yes, deploy all our units, like the special units, that we can just grow and deploy as soon as they enter my missile range. So as soon as that happens, we're going to be wanting to spam any units that we can use, and use the cavalry just to distract. There's a lot of fire coming in. There's a lot of fire being laid down by all these guys, actually. So you guys now just keep them busy, because this is a free unit, so why not? Chaos Fury's just going around the outside. Let's see what we got here. They're going to lay down a lot of fire, and though I would prefer not to, it means really I have to charge forward and just deal with them. Though because they just stand there and fire a lot, it does mean there's a good opportunity to just start, laying down big spells like lightning. The cavalry's going to struggle against most of this, but it might be able to distract them, keep them away from the front line. So we have got lightning. I'm just going to, here we go. That's nice. That's nice right there. That'll do. Let's just get you guys not firing on my front line. These guys are doing a brilliant job just keeping these lads busy. And, okay, are you guys going for my sky junk? That's really rude. I'm going to need some of these archers to turn their attention up towards screamers and also screamers. Maybe Chaos Furies. I know there's some Chaos Furies. There's Chaos Furies. Right, you just start moving forward. Reinforcements should be coming in momentarily. We do have the Celestial Dragon Guard just chopping through these guys right now. Jade Warriors, get down there and do what you can. We can just start cutting through them. Reinforcements are now piling in. My cavalry are probably in a lot of trouble right now, but what can you flipping do, eh? Get around the back, see if we can cause them to shatter. These guys, of course, play like undead. They won't ever retreat, but they will start falling apart in the event they run out of morale. The Sky Junkie's struggling a little bit just because it's powerful, but it's so damn slow. But yeah, we're shooting down the Chaos Furies at this point. These guys aren't going to be able to do much. Deploy the dragon to attack their leader. And if we can just get overhead here. I mean, look at those Jade Warriors go. They will stand and fight, and they'll keep doing it for bloody years. Bombs a flipping way, boys! And now turn your attention over to here, to the pink horrors. The dragon's doing excellent work over there. These guys are now falling apart. Boom, boom, boom. Start chasing them off. Honestly, actually, just send the cavalry up here just to help charge into these lads. They are now, yep, collapsing, banished, army losses, and as a result of that, you, buddy, are going to start losing health. Very, very fast indeed. That's just my dragon doing dragon stuff. So, you'll be dead momentarily. And I think it might have been the Sky Junk that got the revenge hit there. Well done. Oh, and I've got good news. My relationship with these lads up north, guarding the other two gates, has been getting better and better and better. Let's talk about outposts, because outposts are the best thing ever. Basically, every settlement that's the head of a province can have one and only one outpost in it. So, if you didn't get there first, you're a bit out of luck, unfortunately. The nice thing about an outpost is it's a mutually beneficial arrangement. Because when you build an outpost, as I understand it, they get some extra units in their garrison, but you get to recruit their units. So, Jade Warrior Crossbowmen. Now, you're probably wondering something very, very special right now, which is, okay, but you could just train those units yourselves. What about units from other races? Yes, I can confirm it does work cross-race. Alright, I spoke about this with Creative Assembly. They said to me, if you had an outpost in a city of the Empire, and they'd built up that city enough to have access to steam tanks, you could have steam tanks. At this point, every single faction in the game has access to every other faction in the game if you're willing to do the work cultivating the alliance. And that's pretty bloody incredible. We've now got a pretty much perfect army ready to go with Mao Ying. Terracotta Graveyard, though pretty bloody well guarded, has no army present. The army they do have is over here. So that means I'd say this is a perfect opportunity to get in and put them under siege. No reason to rush in because nobody wants a Pyrrhic victory. No. No, 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 no. I'm not going to fight them in the streets because, oh blimey. Forsaken, la-di-da. I am going to encircle them. Let's wait them out. Let's just, you know, drain their strength a bit. These guys have now been worn down a tiny, tiny amount, and that would just be enough, though it would be close, for me to actually win without losing anything. So I'm willing to just take that right there, no trouble. Absolutely spectacular. I'll just be moving in and taking that. Though, this province is a bit of an odd one, in a way. Which is, I don't actually need this province, because it belongs to my good friends. So, okay. I've got a bit of a plan for that. Because settlement trading is now back on the flipping menu. So I can just put that in to a trade offer. And 100% they are up for that. Spectacular. Even better, military alliance. And as for the loose change, I can make them pay for it. So balance the offer. Presumably that's the entirety of their treasury. Oh, and here's something I was waiting for. So we finally run into some trouble with our caravan. Some bloody ogres have shown up and they would like to eat me. Now, you've got a choice at this point. You can send your army in, or you can choose to just hand over a unit to be eaten. But bear in mind, you can't recruit into this army. this Caravan Master has just lost that unit for good. And maybe that would free up space for something better down the line. You just don't know. But if you do decide to feed them, yeah, all of a sudden, you've actually got a big increase in diplomatic relations. Feeding ogres can be a good starting point to a trading relationship, which sounds really wrong, but here we are. But no. Screw you guys. I just want to see these new units we've got in action because, yes indeed, we've got these lovely flying horses, and I picked up another one of you guys, the Hunter. So basically a giant ogre artillery unit of some description. So he's got, yeah, 20 shots with something. Maybe he's tossing spears, I'm not 100% sure, but that's a pretty damn good amount of damage. He might be able to, yes, help assassinate the tyrant over here. Marvellous. Oh, I've also got ancestral warriors, because why wouldn't I? So, okay, just wait for a second. Yes, this is officially an army that belongs to me. So I see no reason why I wouldn't. Just get over here, start hitting the little nobblers, little gnomes or whatever. And yes, this will be rather bloody useful. Get over here, hit the Slaughtermaster. And you, get over here, you just keep laying down the fire. My Longbow Rider's going to do an excellent job right here. You guys have just pushed straight through this, but if we could just get up the back of them, send in the Peasant Spearmen to reinforce. Just open fire on this guy. This has done its job. It's distracted them. Pull the Longbow Riders back out. There are saber tusks. They are presumably, yeah, they're large, so spears are just going to annihilate them. Magnificent. This guy is just, yes, he's tossing spears. Beautiful. So don't get yourselves too far out of yourselves there. These guys are just freebies. So just, honestly, they're doing a beautiful job. You may as well just, yeah, make sure that pack stays gone. My archers are doing a beautiful work too. That's Peasant Spearmen. Maybe pull them back because they're going to be annihilated. Only a couple of units are still floating around on the field. Send in the Longbow Riders and oh flipping dear, lads. Lads, you've made a mistake, I'm afraid. Right, just keep on keeping on. My Jade Warriors will absolutely destroy little tiny nobblers. So there we go. On that occasion, nice, easy fight. The Caravans tend to be, yeah, quite a refreshing change of pace, because they're small-scale little fights where even if you are doing your absolute best to doomstack, you can't doomstack, because you just use the army you've been given. It's a very good way of encouraging you to try out compositions and units you might not otherwise be familiar with. So, to date we've been doing a good job here. We have cleaned up the inside of Cathay very nicely, but outside, things are getting nasty. The Fortress of Eyes has fallen to chaos. There are armies everywhere, and the game's also warning us the Great Bastion threat is going up. Inside a couple of turns, it's going to hit 100%, and a warband is coming in. So, Mao Ying, I'd say it's time for you to move into a defensive position. Oh, but perfect timing, it's compass time. Okay. Probably best to say, yes indeed, get the Great Bastion threat down, get recruitment costs down, and Celestial Intervention, a great big bombardment we can start using. Plus on top of that, yes, defensive supplies, moving in the right direction. Do it. Let's start getting that going. Ah yes, and while Xi Deng is just hanging out down in the desert, taking a few more little settlements over here, we can see how, yes, allied recruitment works. So, you can pick any empire you've got an outpost with. For me, that's only one. Imperial Wardens, that allegiance counter has just been ticking up over time. So, locally, I can only recruit basic peasants. If I need to, in a hurry, I can just say, you know what, give me Jade Crossbowmen, give me some cavalry. Very exciting, especially as I say, this does not need to be the same race that you're playing as. You can bring in troops from other factions, other empires, other everything, which is so damn cool. Okay, they're coming in. Whole bunch of small armies. Nothing too dramatic yet, but put them all together, you've got a good full stack going on there. So, we could wait for them to make the first move, but honestly, I feel like with this army and those reinforcements, we can just go out and take the fight to them. Oh yeah, I think we might just be out in the Chaos Wastes, yes. Oh, I think I'm going to enjoy this, actually. I do rather like it when the situation is all very in your favour. Yes, this is going to be a lovely day for me. Alright, they're at the point of collapse right now, which is good. Enemy reinforcements are coming in from this direction. I think we can handle some of that. Just make sure we've got some troops ready to intercept if need be. Got a bunch of cavalry standing nearby too. We can just start attacking them. The main line is, yes, they're going to try and come to this direction. So the main line is already well set up to take care of these guys. To date, no one has dared come into range of my Iron Hail gunners. Though I think we might want to change that. Oh, he's running. He's flipping running. He doesn't want to do it, and I don't cock and blame him. Everybody may now fire, and boom, 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 boom. Oh dear, you're dead. Alright, let's open her up on these guys. Pure luck whether we hit them or not. This thing is wildly inaccurate. Wasn't even aiming at that guy, but we did something. If we can, which way are they going? Drop the bombardment over here. Also, what's the wind-up? I don't know, but this feels pretty good to me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in comes the hit from above. Oh, it's going to be a hit. They're trying to get out of the way. No! I tell you what, it did something. It did flipping something. And at this point, how's my artillery doing? Still firing. Bless them. Bless you, magnificent bastards. Oh, bless them. They're trying. They're sending marauders at my cavalry. So begin Operation Randomly Charge. So that's going to be them breaking, because these guys aren't actually demons. They're not going to disintegrate or anything. They're just going to run away. What a bunch of cowards. Yes, this is all very, very good fun. You know what? I've decided we're going to take the fight back to them a little bit. So how about Fortress of the Eyes right here? I think we're just going to be walking in and taking that. Actually, screw you. Because right now it is full of demons and marauders and whatnot, and we're not having that. So how about we just burn it? Screw you. Okay, I'm going to be honest. This isn't how I planned it at all. It would appear that, yes, for the time being, we've beaten back Chaos and they're not going to be able to get past the gates. But, though I was trying to, you know, confederate these guys, I was just randomly clicking around, and I can't help but notice these random nobodies, who have not really had much to do with aside from occasionally saying hello if we pass each other in the corridor, they're willing to join my confederation, and they own more than me. Right, so hang on, I've just inherited this city, together with all this nonsense, the city of the whatever that is, and the Gunlan, and Jade Wind Mountain is. Oh, that's 100% cocking rat men, isn't it? And of course, Mao Ying could just swing around here, needs to deal with a whole bunch of bloody greenskin, Skaven, beastmen, all the rest of it. Some interesting armies to fight there, but if she goes inland, yes, the Snake Gate is still vulnerable. These idiots might lose the other gates. You just don't flipping know. And out there somewhere is Kairos Fateweaver. We haven't seen him yet. Sometimes he appears, sometimes he doesn't, because he can literally teleport. Oh, and we haven't actually discussed the demons, by the way. Beyond this weird wibbly sea of nothing, this is where the demons live. In, you know, their special kingdoms over here. Eventually, someone's going to tell me I need to go and invade the demon territories to go and steal their souls. Because, like, there's a bear dying somewhere. Kids never really annoyed about it, by the way. And in order to go and find the bear, you need demon souls. So, at that point, Miao Ying's campaign goes bananas. Because you've got to be managing all this nonsense inland. Potentially, if you run out of Cathay to expand into, you've got to be expanding out into the mountains. And yes, indeed, the ogres aren't keen about that. Every so often, yes, the Bastion is going to come under attack. For the time being, I think it can handle itself. But, yeah, that's not always going to be the case. And, yes, when the demon gates start opening, there's going to be demons bloody everywhere. So, it's a pretty chaotic campaign, which now I say it out loud, yes, that makes sense. given it's all about chaos and demons and whatnot. Still, I would say that's enough for now. I can't show you that much at this exact moment in time, but over the coming days and weeks, all sorts of embargoes pass. I can show you all the different campaigns, all the different mechanics. Watch this space. We'll almost certainly do a live stream pretty darn soon when I can show you some new stuff, maybe Kislev or whatnot. So, more coming as soon as I can bring it to you. But what I will say is, yes, the improvements to Warhammer 3 really nice. To sieges, to diplomacy, a whole bunch of stuff I didn't even know I wanted until I got it. The outposts are going to be a game changer. I mean, just imagine the dumb armies you can put together when you can blend the elite troops of multiple different races. It's going to be... oh, it's going to be incredible. I cannot bloody wait. But in the meantime, I've been John. This has been Many a True Nerd. And this has been Total War Warhammer 3. Thank you very much, and goodbye. This guy's enjoying that. This guy's enjoying his elephant a bit too much.
Oh my god.
In Fair Verona, we set our scene. Oh my god, Becky, look at her butt. It is so big. They've managed to glitch inside one of the buildings. Elephants in the rear! And then in come the chariot!